Well, we're speaking about stuff publicly, although I don't know if it's public yet. Do you want to get into the elephant in the room now?
What's the elephant in the
I
room?
think you know where I'm going with this. NFTs.
Oh,
So
NFTs. Okay.
let me prime this space. Let me prime this space for you. So
Go ahead.
I think this is important because this is where people shut off. This is where people either are on their echo chamber of it's the enemy, it's done, or they're on the echo chamber of toxic positivity. Right? There's very little middle grounds when you bring up the word NFT. So I think it's important to frame this. They're not going anywhere. Whether you believe in them or not, which I'm up in the air, and you and I have talked about this. I am up in
I
the air.
was skeptical for a long time, and I'll tell you how I flipped. Go ahead,
Yeah,
though.
and I'm still like in this conversation. I have not agreed that I think they're going to be good for gaming, but there are applications where I'm like, it's interesting. Let's talk about it. Where I think it muddies the water the most between us, or at least between Vale and the community, is there already is, like we talked about, the vision gets murky. Competitive shooter, social scenes, then NFTs come in the mix. It's a triangle of confusion, a triangle that really makes people question, and that's where you get people where, like I said, you can be toxically positive about NFTs, and there's also toxic negativity. Let's try to piece this together. I don't want to go like all off the wheels of like what an NFT is and go all the place.
There's so many things, but go
There
ahead.
are. There's too many. So let's try to like narrow this down. Why are NFTs even coming up in the discussion with VAIL VR? Like condense this pretty quickly. Why
Really
did you want to bring
quickly,
this in? Yes.
really quickly, it started with funding.
Okay.
It
Fair.
started with funding. Every decision that happens is because of funding, usually. Not always. It's much different having 100 million in the bank and just getting creative versus like, what's the most we can do with the amount of money we have, and how do we get more to build more, right? So I raised $1 million in February. The law changed in March to let you raise up to 5 million, so I went to go raise another million. And while this is happening, Facebook acquired 6 studios. Massive VCs invested $80 million, $100 million rounds. Another studio that just started with some executives raised $35 million. Everyone's raising crazy amounts of money, and what this does is it starts increasing the salaries of a lot of these developers, which is
Fair.
very good for the industry. But it's a lot more money than I ever expected, because now you're paying 2, 3, 4, 5x
Sure.
the salary, which is great if you can afford it. For an indie shop, we're getting murked. If we thought, $5 million gets us 10 full time for 2 years, now $5 million gets us 3 or 4 full time. So like we need a lot more money. We only raised 2 million so far, and dude, 2 million bucks for. I
Yeah.
know it sounds like a lot of money, and a lot of my community thought we were scamming them when we went to go raise another million immediately after. And I always told them, like, guys, first of all, some games cost 100 million plus to make. It's very expensive. Second of all, you always have to be raising, because the second you stop raising and you get too close to comfort, you might, when you need it, you might not have it. So like you always got to be raising. Even I like having a cushion. Like right now I have a few months runway. Like if I could have 12 months runway, I'd probably sleep at night. But what ended up happening is I started equity crowdfunding. It works great. It's not enough. VCs started reaching out to me saying, "Hey, you're like one of the last independent studios. Like, do you want to talk? Like, we're funding everything. Like, every VC is funding the whole metaverse." I dated for months. All these VCs, I didn't find one that clicked. And I'm not a traditional Silicon Valley guy. I'm a Miami guy. I curse. I don't have a track record. Like my track record's playing, thousands of hours of World of Warcraft. I made a
Yep.
joke saying I think that the fact that I was a guild leader and I could manage 40 people raids is better than fucking working at Goldman Sachs or something. But like people don't see that. I also think gamers are really smart, because you're very like, dude,
Yep.
so much information you're calculating in your head. Like gamers are fucking smart.
They
So,
are.
but
All right. All
VCs
right.
don't look at that. They're
So
like,
so
"What's your exit?" Like, whatever. So, long story short is, the number one question I always got asked, on top of all the bullshit, is, "What's your exit strategy?" I don't have an exit strategy. Like, I did this because I love this. I want funding to continue doing it, hopefully forever. The
I
second
was
you
just saying,
say no exit strategy,
aren't we thinking a little too far with an exit strategy? Like you're building a
no,
work of art right now.
dude, every single VC, that's like the question they ask. What's your exit strategy? And I'm like, it's so far away. Like, you have to have a strategy. Even if you don't do it and you pivot, like, we need it, because they have criteria they have to check off, because it's not their money. They're investing it on behalf. I learned so much about this game. But anyways, I finally get a term sheet from a VC that I kind of like, that I had a really good relationship with. And the term sheet had a lot of clauses I didn't like, but one clause specifically was they get to pick when we sell and who we sell to. And I didn't like that. And there was no budging on it, because they thought they could sell it really quickly and like I can still be CEO, whatever. I hated it. I had no other option. I was about to sign this. This literally happened a month ago, brother. Like, it literally happened like in October. I had to pivot the whole company because I started reaching out. This guy reached out to me. I reached out to him. We started talking. He's a very well-known NFT guy. I was very skeptical, but he kept like talking to me, teaching me, and telling me. And he said, look, NFTs could be a way to crowdfund, and it could be a way to digitize an NFT digital assets. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And he's like, imagine you have Call of Duty skins. You poured hundreds of hours to unlock these skins. You poured hundreds of dollars to buy these skins. And then the new Call of Duty comes out. All those skins are gone. Even if you wanted to sell it, you can't. So with NFTs, you can hold the value in the actual item. Ideally, if you have a new game come out or other games come out, you can freely move them between worlds because you're no longer storing the data on the game. You're storing it on the blockchain. And you just need games to develop portals, kind of like a web browser. Think of it as like a VR 3D asset browser that can get it can be open protocol, open source. You can slap it on top of every game, so you do have to integrate it. But then if you're inside of VAIL, you can see your furniture or your weapon skin, and then in any other game that adds it, whether it's VAIL 2 in the future or it's another game that comes out and wants to also accept it, you can now take your valuable assets and move them from world to world, and you always own it, and you always maintain value.
Let me stop you there real quick, because here's my question. When I hear NFTs in gaming, like I said, I'm open to it. You and I spoke about Revon. Like, I don't agree fully with that settlement, but like the fact that I could hunt down a shiny Pokemon. It's not Pokemon, guys, but it's called Revomon. So I
use Pokemon to even talk about Vailian sometimes.
Take it for what it is. But to hunt down specific very rare Pokemon shinies and then have the ownership of them to sell them to somebody else is cool. But when I hear games talk about NFTs and that you can have an asset in your game and bring it into another, are we ever going to really, and I mean this openly, just talking out loud, isn't this very dependent on VR being super open and allowing the interchange? Like, what happens if every game stays the same way as it's always been, where they're in their own bubble? How do you make those NFTs valuable solely within your game and your IP and your universe, putting everyone else outside the equation?
Let me tell you what our NFT does, right?
Okay.
So when I looked at NFTs, people were buying JPEGs for millions of dollars. I didn't understand it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is a scam. Like, what is this? Someone explained it to me very well. They said, imagine that a members club, right? Whether it's a country golf course or a tennis club or a social club, whatever type of members club it is. Imagine they only had 10,000 memberships for the rest of eternity, and people are buying into this club by buying this JPEG that now puts them in a Discord where they have other community members. And the more demand there is for this club, there's only a finite amount of memberships. So as the demand for the club grows, more people want it, value goes up. That's what made me understand why people are willing to pay millions of dollars for a JPEG, because they want to buy into this hype beast. It's status. It's, I'm somebody. Look at me with my public NFT, right? Right-click save. People could do it, but trust me, if you're a famous celebrity with the celebrities are buying this shit, they're not going to do that, because if people find out you don't own it, it looks bad. I know you can right-click save, but they buy it and they own it and they publicize it like, I'm part of this community, whether it's a monkey or, a punk, whatever it may be. So I thought I get it now. I'm like, okay, it's that. But so what we're doing with...
I mean this nicely, but is that not just another crypto coin? It's just a crypto coin launch, isn't it?
No, because crypto coins, you're not buying... Well, you're buying into a protocol. You're buying a token that you hope has a lot of adoption and has a lot of applications on it. This is like you're buying into a members club. You're buying into a community. Okay. That's what you're doing.
So is this how VAIL's going to be using them?
No, so the way they were using it, this got me excited, right? So normal games, they have battle passes.
Yes.
You buy a battle pass, $10 a month. It's a subscription, $20, whatever it is, and then you get airdrop things. When you hold our NFT, we can airdrop you things forever, and whoever owns it at that time, because it's in real time, like some people might sell it, buy it, you're buying in and out of this membership constantly. Whoever owns the NFT at any given moment, we can click a button and give them in-game items. So you can treat it as a battle pass, actually. Not only can you treat it as a battle pass, you're supporting the funding of the studio. You also have now an in-game pet that you can kind of like do fun things with. We're going to have them battle, we're going to have them race, mini games. So it's like an in-game mini game that you can purchase that also is like, it's just cosmetic. It doesn't affect the actual core gameplay of it. And other people that see it, it's like something cute to look at. They can play with it too. And then the third way that we're doing it is we're building out one social server just for NFT users to enter. So if you have this NFT, normally these NFT communities is Discord, it's Telegram, it's WhatsApp. Now they have a real club to go and meet in person. And I was in NFT NYC and I saw people waiting in lines. They owned like $100,000 JPEG of a monkey and they still couldn't get into the event. And I realized that, like, wow, these people just spent $100,000 on a monkey. They were waiting in line for 3 hours. They got max capacity. They couldn't even get into their own community event. I didn't think that was cool, so I thought VR could solve that. I was like, people want to hang out with their community, and they're taking money from the digital world, right? So taking money from the digital world, putting it in the physical world to do real life parties. I was like, maybe they put digital money in digital worlds. Community members can come. And dude, like, I know a guy, he's a doctor. He has an NFT he's dropping. He wants me to build out a VR, like, cool place for all the doctors to meet up because they're all over the world. So they just want a place to hang out and show ownership. Some of these NFT communities can be $50, $20, $100. Like, it doesn't always have to be that crazy headline news of like $1 million thing.
How do you buy? Let me put it this way: how are you going to get your community to buy into this?
So we're doing two things because I know the VR community is not as flush with cash as the crypto community. It's obvious thing. I'm a VR guy. I have no money. A lot of my friends in VR, like, we're nowhere near crypto people level. Like, we aren't. Crypto people is like way different. So we are going to be selling this NFT. We're doing it in an interesting way where we're setting a floor price and we're letting the public decide what they want to pay for it, and whatever they want to pay for it is what they're going to pay for it. So the way it works, for example, is we're going to do the auction. We're going to have a floor price. The top 10,800 bids are going to get it. So people can offer whatever it is that they want, and whatever the market price is, it is. And what we're going to do is, for example, if someone offers like 1,000 Ether, and the 10,800 bid is, 0.1 Ether, everyone's going to pay the 0.1 Ether so that no one overpays like for the same thing. Like, I want everybody to pay the same thing, and it's up to the market to decide. So we're not putting like a real price on it. It's like whatever they want. What was the question again?
It's kind of, it was sort of the logistics of how you're going to enact it, but I think the bigger question.
Oh, okay. I remember now. So that's one side. The second side is, I haven't announced this yet. You get an exclusive. Next week, I'm going to be announcing a daily giveaway. So any VR community member can make a meme, a GIF, a poem, content, whatever the fuck it is that they want. And I'm going to pick every day a VR community member that's been part of our community to give them a free one. So we reserved, I forgot how much, like over 1,000 of these NFTs just to give back to our own community. I haven't announced this either, but I'll tell you here, I plan on giving every investor, about 1,500 people that had already invested in the company, an NFT. Even if you invested $100 or $100,000, everyone's going to get an NFT. Community members are going to be given one daily in giveaways. I want to give it to as many people as possible. If you can't afford it and you're a community member, like, you should have a chance to be able to get one without having to pay for it. So I'm giving back a lot. And then I'm also letting the crypto community, if they want to buy these things and pay prices for it, like, they can. And then hopefully that money can be used to fund more and more of the development studio.
Yeah. The real question, though, on this, and this is the last part I want to talk about NFTs before we wrap this up, because I do have something I want to talk to you about. I get having the opportunity to get in. I think it's pretty obvious. You're going to get pushback for this, right? How do you get buy-in from the community that you already have? Maybe, and it could be more than one community you have to do. You have the community maybe who jumped in at the beginning, who a competitive shooter love. You may have the community now who loves the social stuff. And you may have a community that loves NFTs, and you also may have a community that hates NFTs. So how do you even navigate those waters?
It is messy, brother. I don't have an answer for you right now. But I'll tell you what I said in my own Discord yesterday. We had a chat, and it was a heated debate, but it was actually pretty civil, and a lot of things opened my mind on many different angles of it. But I ended up asking the question to the community because it was like, it started getting chaos. I'm like, guys, I'm going to put you in my shoes right now, and I'll end it with this. You're the CEO of a company, you're a first-time founder, you have 14 full-time employees, you have an option to take VC money that will probably destroy your baby, or you have an option to risk it all and do an NFT drop and be 100% community funded, from equity crowdfunding to NFT crowdfunding to like self-funding. And it's a big risk. I took a risk with Start Engine, I'm taking a risk with this, and I just hope that if the community believes enough in us to buy it, and then we can deliver on the product. Like, I'm not out here doing what a lot of blockchain companies are doing, like, fund me, I'll give you a game in 5 years, I have nothing but a white paper. Like, I have 6 years into this, so like, I have something to show for it. So I just hope that people see how hard we work and that we're really using the money to good use. And as long as we put out a badass game, I hope people are happy. Like, we lack content. I'm just trying to make content, and I'm trying to make it with my vision in mind and not being controlled. And I'm always open to changing. I'm always open to pivoting, but it seems like this makes sense. And my goal is for it to get to the point where people don't even know it's an NFT. The user experience should be so freely that like you don't even know it's an NFT. And an NFT is like a buzzword. Like eventually it's just gonna be like, oh, you're buying that outfit, cool, let me buy it. Boom. Like, oh, you own it? Yeah, I own it on the blockchain. Like, cool. Like it shouldn't be like this whole complicated thing of like an NFT. And there's a lot of barriers to entry in crypto. It's a little confusing, and I hope a lot of companies are gonna spring up and like kind of make it seamless. Like Coinbase made crypto easy. I think that something like that will pop up for gaming in general. So I'm excited to see where the space goes, and I have no fucking idea where we're going, brother, but it's exciting.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.